All right, another conversation with Glenn. And Glenn.
Yay!
Hey!
Yay! You're so fun. I love these.
More Glenn talking.
Because you can't get enough of me on the radio, and then an hour of television every day. You need another podcast.
People like these.
They don't.
Dan and I have
watches them.
fans.
I know.
There
this
are
is
comments
crazy.
about these are great conversations. Keep them up. We love seeing this side of Glenn.
Not true.
It has
Nobody
nothing to
watches
do
them.
with anything you're saying. It's just us sitting
Right.
here on the couch.
I know,
Clearly
I know,
is
I
driving
know,
all of the
I know.
content. Should we set up like a
It's your
webcam?
family responding.
It's not my family.
There's like 3,000 people watch it, and you're like 2,897 of them.
We should set up like a like one of those 24/7 cams, like they have like the bald eagle cam or whatever. Like we just have a cam at your house, just so.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Panopticon.
You could
Panopticon.
see me sleeping.
Right, we'll just make the NSA's job a little bit easier.
Yeah, you could see me doing all kinds of non-nefarious things.
So it was Spy Week here on TheBlaze, and seeing the levels that things have come as far as the domestic surveillance scene. What did that make you think, if at all, about the future we're leaving kind of for our kids, and like what's the thing that scares you the most about the world your kids are going to be growing up in? I mean, I know you got two younger ones now who will be growing up in this. What worries you the most?
I don't know. Dan, do you really want the worry most, or do you want the sanitize for your protection, what the average person worries about?
We don't censor here at TheBlaze.
Well, they could go two ways, and I could give you two great answers. So which do you want?
This is a conversation with Glenn. I want what worries you the most.
That my children grow up in a world that is increasingly totalitarian, and they do not understand freedom as we have ever known it. That all of this technology that could be used for such great, powerful good is seized by governments, and a war of some sorts down the road changes everything. I mean, I've done my history on Woodrow Wilson and the Fabian Society over in Europe enough to know wars are used to reshape the world, and look at how they have reshaped. They're not using this government's not using this technology to find what's happening with ISIS. That they'll never release this information. We could say, you know what, we're going to beam them all up into space because Scotty from the Enterprise is here, and we say lock in on their coordinates, and all of a sudden they just all pop in space. The government would not dismantle the NSA, not dismantle all of the things that they have built for our protection. So that's my biggest fear, is they don't. They live in the world of Brave New World.
I was just gonna say, like, do you think, because I have this romantic idea in my head. My oldest is 9, about to be 10. I have this romantic idea in my head that I'm going to be able to convince her, hey, look, if you want to be the cool kid, don't have a phone. Don't be disconnected from all this stuff. Make somebody actually come over to your house if they want to see you. Is that impossible today? Is that gonna be
really
impossible?
funny, because I was thinking, as we did this week, about probably 4 years ago, you had a policy, if you remember, for a short time, where we would come in your office in New York and you would make everyone drop their device, computer, cell phone in a little basket.
And why was that?
Because you
of the
were
Google
afraid.
stuff, right?
Well, because we were in the middle of taking on the most powerful people in the world, and we had Secret Service agents tell us,
right,
don't.
Everything was on pen
in.
and paper. And that was, I think, only about 4 years ago. Do you think we could even do that today? We have become so much more reliant on that technology.
I don't think you can, I don't think people will. Could they? I don't think they will let go of this technology, which this week we talked about, who was it? I think it was Klein, the CIA agent that was on with us, that said off the air, I said, so.
Cats.
Yeah, cats. I said, well,
Klein's the AT&T guy.
Yeah, I said, what happens next from here? And he said an event that changes the world. And he said that an event that I don't know if we recover from. And what I don't think people realize is we are so connected to everything that it makes us a giant target. Because you turn that off and we're imbeciles.
Right.
We don't have access to money, our cars don't work. We sit in our car and push a button. Why isn't it starting? Why isn't it starting? Why isn't it starting? We've become what Carl Sagan talked about, the demon-haunted world, where it's all magic. It's just all magic. It just works, and when it doesn't work,
If you don't have
I
a
don't know what to do.
GPS, you're not getting anywhere.
No, our kids don't know how to read a map.
And so much of that is self-reliance, right? And it's like, you wonder if we become so dependent on the technology that when there's a blackout, whatever it is, people do not know what to do. They can't function.
A good example of this is driving. I've always been really good at finding my way around and everything else. Without GPS now, I have no idea where I am. I just turn where it tells me to turn. So I'm thinking about other things, and you just don't pay attention. And so you move to a new city. I've been here for 3 years. I barely find my way downtown.
Yeah, we're becoming like the Dwight from The Office when he follows the GPS right into the lake. It's like, it's saying turn right, and he just goes, and he goes right into the lake. I mean, that's essentially what we're doing.
Well, this is what Ray Kurzweil and I talked about, and he said, no, it'll free you up. You know, if we put in the implants, we can teach you other things. So you don't have to study, we can just teach you. You need to know about history, we'll just upload it. And I said, well, that'll make you an imbecile. And he said, no, it'll free you up to think of other things.
Without the labor, there's no reward. Like,
right. And it doesn't, yes, I do think about other things, but I've also lost a skill on being able to find my way out of a paper bag.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something that bothers me, is that I don't know how to do anything. Like, I'm having to call people to fix my cars and do all the basic stuff that our parents used to do. And you've kind of recently, in the past few months and recent years, you know, you're out on the ranch and you're, you know, doing things like getting your hands dirty again, and sort of. But attempting it at least.
Yeah.
And I think that's better than what a lot of people are doing.
I've replaced my starter and my air filter on my car. You can't do that on your car. I bet you don't even know where it is. I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't get into a new car and replace them. I have the old cars. But, you know, we were driving down the street just the other day, and Tanya was looking at a new car. She's getting just a truck. And she's looking at these, and I'm like, honey, let's buy an old car. Just buy an old one. Why do we need a new car? She got in, and it like stops for you automatically. It tells you, you know, the seat vibrates. This was not kidding you. If you're going out of your own lane, it vibrates on which side of the car to wake you up. And I mean, it's crazy. And I said, in 5 years from now, they will be almost all self-driving. They will be pretty close to self-driving. Within 10 years, they will be self-driving. And our kids will look at us and say, you guys drove? They let you drive?
true.
Do you think it's possible we could have like another Dark Ages, like
Yes.
where all of this comes to a head and it's just like, it
Yes.
just all collapses in itself because, like you
Yes.
said, we're all a bunch of imbeciles.
I've wanted to write this story. It's probably the oldest story that I have that I haven't written yet. It's a story I used to tell my kids, The Sacred Pearl. My older kids, when they were little, I wrote this story called The Sacred Pearl, and the backstory of it is that you're living in a time where it seems like it's medieval times, but you don't find out until later, but it's never really clear because it's all backstory. But you realize by the legends that they have that this is like 1,000 years from now, where there's legends of grand flying machines that people could get into and ways to send pictures around the world. And you realize, oh my gosh, it's all, this is in the future. But the key to that was, like the pyramids, we have no idea how they built those things. We have no idea. So what happened to that technology. Where was that bridge? Where was that break? There was obviously a break someplace. The Sphinx, if you look at the Sphinx and you roll the, you look at the pyramids, they're all positioned to the stars, okay? And each point it lines up with a star field. So to figure out when they were built, all you have to do is roll the star field back 5,000 years, and they lock in, or I don't remember what it is, 3,000 years, and they lock in to the time period. So you can date just by the star field. Well, here's the Sphinx in front of it. Doesn't fit. Now, if that was locked to the star field, you have to roll it back another 3,000 or 5,000 years. So there's a possibility that the actual original structure of the Sphinx is from a lost civilization prior to the Egyptians. So, and we don't know how they made any of those things. So what happened? Could be the same kind of stuff that happens now. The Tower of Babel is, you either believe that is true or it's a fairy tale. But look at the Tower of Babel and say, okay, what did God do? He confused their language. How do you confuse our language now? You shut our devices off, and we can't talk to each other anymore, and we scatter. That's what happens. And we could easily, through an EMP, hit a Tower of Babel where all of this stuff would be legend within 100 years.
Right, because if the economy collapsed, then you couldn't buy any more things, and all these companies go out, and if it lasted long enough.
If you fry everything, we have a solar EMP, okay? The solar flare. We wipe out the whole world. It takes you at least a year to reset. But in that, that's if nobody died. But they say an EMP would kill 90% of the population. So could you reset and get all of this technology back in a timely fashion? Or would it kill so many people that by the time you got any kind of electricity back, you'd lose all of this? You wouldn't know how to do any of this.
Yeah, especially if like the 10 smart people were killed and then all of us dummies were out there. I'd be like, I don't know how to make my make another
Call
one
the
of these
IT
phones.
department, can you make this work? I have no idea.
Right, yeah.
So it's possible that all this stuff, I mean, in the grimmest of
It's
scenarios.
funny though, you look at like a horse, and that was kind of the first self-driving car, right? Like you could totally drive home drunk on a horse. Get home. We've kind of gone backwards.
Yes, kind of.
One other thing I wanted to follow up on. So kind of along the lines of the phones in the basket at the office. I think it was, I don't know when it was like a few months ago, you kind of made, maybe a year or two ago, you made a declaration that there was going to be no more iPads for the kids, no more phones for the kids. You were going to throw them all in the pool. So are there 20 iPads at the bottom of your pool right now, or are there?
No, we almost got to the point where the TV went into the pool because it was the TV. So I'm going to yank it off the wall and throw it in the pool.
You can throw it to my house, by the way, before you throw it in the pool, just in case you decide to pull the trigger on that. Just saying.
I know.
Anyway, go ahead.
And I started walking towards the TV. And Tanya just looked at me like.
I will say this, whenever your son is here, he's always reading an actual book. It's never off an iPad. He's always reading a paper book, so.
He reads, that's the thing that saved his bacon a lot. He reads a lot. I mean, he just told me yesterday, he was like, Dad, I've read, our house, full of books. I've read everything in the house. I read, He's
not read everything in that house.
No, he hasn't. Well, he hasn't read all the, all the stuff geared for him. And he's like, I've read everything in the house. He said, today, I just reread The Hunger Games. I'm like, okay, I don't think you should have read The Hunger Games in the first place, but reading it a second time is probably not great.
We are excited to tell you that Mark Cuban is joining us on Monday after the weekend.
Great.
So we want everyone to look forward to that.
Yeah, net neutrality is the death of the internet and could be the death of the economy. You choke new high tech down. I mean, we are so stupid. You choke high tech, and the economy's done.
Mark Cuban said it, more colorful believe
Yes.
in that,
Yes.
but yes, same
Yes.
sentiment.
And you will see, we do this, you will see Microsoft and Apple, mark my words, move out of the United States.
Heard it here first.
Or government could get it right. I mean,